it will be on an agenda. All right, so going back on the agenda under public hearings to item A, continuation of application 20-21. Willinger and Busey for Manuel Motino at 6 Todd Road, Assessors Map 77, Lot 25, for a planned development district on 1.22 acres for 10,170 square foot retail development. Just a timeline. This was accepted for review on October 28th. Public hearing opened on January 20th, 2021. At that public hearing, the commission heard an introduction about the proposal from attorney Charles Willinger. The site plans were reviewed by the applicant's engineer, including what was proposed for parking and landscaping. Attorney Willinger also reviewed the office and retail feasibility studies and a traffic study. Commissioner Parkins and Wadomski proposed sidewalks in specific areas on Platt and Todd roads. And Mr. Panico gave his opinion on a Todd Road sidewalk. Also, and also suggested a vehicle barrier in the parking area. Commissioner Motto requested building elevations be submitted for review for today's meeting. And Mr. Panico also requested signage information. At the conclusion of these comments, the commission voted to continue the public hearing. And I'd like to know for the record that several documents, including a statement of use, a full set of plans, building elevations, a photo of the proposed retaining wall, and marketing, office, and traffic studies have been available for review on the city's website. Mr. Rossetti, were any additional comments from the public after the continuation of the public hearing for this application on January 20th, were they received?
There were no comments from the public.
Okay. And were any reports from city departments required for this proposal?
There were some comments from the city engineer that were sent to him. They will be published soon. The city engineer and I had a conversation earlier today. There are just some minor details that need to be ironed out, but there's nothing that would prevent this application from proceeding in a positive manner.
Okay, so they will be put on the website at some point. Okay. Does the applicant want to review the building elevations or any other material that has been submitted?
Yes. First of all, good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just a little faint, Attorney Willinger.
I beg your pardon?
It's a little faint.
Okay, I'll speak up. I hope that's better.
Mhm.
Attorney Willinger, Busey, 1000 Bridgeport Avenue here in Shelton, representing the owner of 6 Todd Road, Mr. Lupino. As the chair has already indicated, we were here at the original hearing, January 20th, and had a full presentation. With me today, if you have any questions, is our engineer, Keith Buda, who testified in January, and also our architect, Marco Reinheimer, and our traffic engineer is also available in his office, but he's participating by Zoom in the meeting. As I recall, there are about 6 very brief points that we wanted to make because there were questions from the commission. One of the commissioners questioned the capacity of the sanitary and stormwater connections. And our engineers are of the opinion that there's more than adequate capacity, but the proper procedure is if you're inclined, hopefully, to pass the amendment for the change of zone, then we will have to file a separate application to the WPCA, and they'll confirm, they're the agency that will confirm the capacity. The second point was the sidewalk on Platt Road that was requested. We have no objection to you if you're inclined to pass this petition. I think would be more inclined to be a condition of approval, not of the change of zone, which can't be conditioned, but of the development plans. We would invite you to make that a condition of approval that we connect. When we could connect to a sidewalk, we will at our cost install a concrete sidewalk. There is sufficient area. You see that on our revised plans. And in the meantime, we're going to be seeding and grading and putting lawn in that area for the side, for the future sidewalk. The next point was the vehicle barriers. And I would just refer you to sheet, our new plans that you have, the amended plan, sheet C1, and the details on C7 show those guardrails that we're installing along Todd Road, that's the west of the property, and along the east of the property, which is looking from Bridgeport Avenue, that would be the rear of the property. We have the guardrails noted on the plans. Next, the Commissioner Amato did request a visual on the retaining walls. And we did submit a photo that's in the record. Hopefully you all have a copy of a representative photo of what the walls will look like. But just to refresh your memory, on the westerly or Todd Road side, the retaining wall is 175 feet in length, and it'll be anywhere from, there's a photo, and it'll be anywhere from 1 to 4 feet in height, depending on the location. And then on the easterly or the rear of the building, away from Bridgeport Avenue, the retaining wall is 285 feet in length, and it'll range from 1 to 6.5 feet in height. Those are detailed. We have the plans are entitled Details 3, show the retaining walls. And one last point is there's going to be that decorative fence that you see in the photo, which will be installed next to and adjacent to the retaining walls. So I think it's a good look. Obviously, from an engineering standpoint, we need the walls, but they will be attractive, particularly with that decorative fence. Then there was a question, I think we answered it, but just to make it sure for the record, there will not be any drive-through at this location. Next, we have now filed, Marcos has filed a signage plan, and he's here to walk you through that plan if you have any questions on it. Then lastly, I just did want to quickly comment on the engineer's letter, although I think that's obviously more appropriate for your final development plan approval because it's rather technical, but the letter came in on the 19th, which was the day before the hearing, and we didn't have time to, I don't even know if we saw it on when we were there on the 20th. In any event, we took it after the hearing was over on the 20th, and we submitted the revised stormwater management plan and a drainage calculation report, and we amended our grading and utility plan at sheet C2, pursuant to the request of the engineer. We also installed, and it's on sheet C2, you'll see where we installed the infiltration chambers, which were designed to retain 2 inches of rainfall, which is a requirement of the engineer. The engineer wanted sight lines added to the plan, sheet C1, and we put those on the plans that you have. You'll see that they're all on all locations. There's 4 different locations. The sight lines are more than 250 feet of clear sight, more than 250, which is more than adequate for the safe entry and exit from the site. And then we explained how we were removing the pavement on Platt Road and replacing it with lawn for the future connection. That's a picture of the retaining wall that used and the fence. Then we have added inverts to the plan, to the grading and utility plan C2. And then we confirmed we gave the traffic study, which you have. We gave it to the town engineer or city engineer, and he sent us an email today, as a matter of fact, saying that he's satisfied with the traffic study. There's no further need for any report or any comment on his behalf in that regard. So those were the major, and I think the only questions that were up in the air. I have one final note before we turn it over to any questions you have, and that is just yesterday, the Inland Wetlands Agency approved our plans. And I don't know if you have it yet in the record, but John Cook has given the approval letter, or sent it at any rate to Alex yesterday, so that will be in your, in your file if you don't have it yet. And really, that in a rather summary fashion is really all we have to say, other than to answer any questions. Again, we have all our experts here to address any questions you have. Thank you.
Okay, do any commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Chairwoman Commissioner Parkins.
Go right
Mr.
ahead.
Willinger, I'm sorry, but I missed some of what you said about the sidewalk, that you're going to wait till what to put in the sidewalk?
We were going to wait until there's something to connect it to. Right now, there's no sidewalks at all on that side of the street. So our thought was, at our expense, when we'll connect it to something. Right now, there's nothing to connect it to.
Well, my whole point was to put the sidewalks in to provide a safety for the people that are going to be accessing your shopping center. So it's not a matter of waiting for everybody else to put in sidewalks for you to connect to. It's a matter of you providing a safety aspect for the folks that are going to be coming into your complex by either walking up Platt Road or crossing from the car wash. I imagine you're going to get quite a bit of business from the car wash, if there's any sort of deli or restaurant or coffee shop in that plaza. So that was why I made the suggestion. It's going to be a long time until the folks up above, say the Brennan Building, et cetera, will be putting in sidewalks, but maybe perhaps if you have them, then they may be so inclined to do so. So just my thoughts on that.
Mhm. I think that's a good point that Commissioner Parkins raises. Anybody else? Okay, last call. Any other questions, comments, or concerns for the applicant?
No, I would agree with what Ruth said about the sidewalks. Somebody has to start somewhere, so I think that makes sense. Me too.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Motto.
Chairwoman, if I may just clarify, I'm speaking strictly on Platt Road for the sidewalks.
Right. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Commissioner Motto, thank you for your comments as well. Does anybody on the staff have any comments? Mr. Rossetti, Mr. Panico?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
We have
Panico.
nothing else to add. I think those sidewalk concerns can be addressed pretty easily at the detailed development stage.
Mhm.
And if, the commission would like to, I don't see why we couldn't kind of move forward with this.
Okay. Final call for any comments, questions, or concerns from the commission before I ask Mr. Rossetti to check on members of the public. Okay, hearing none, Mr. Rossetti, are there any members of the public that wish to address the commission on this application?
I would just ask that if there are any members of the public that would like to speak right now, please raise your hand. I do not see anyone raising their hand right now, so I'll give them another minute, or if they would like to, they can directly chat me if they would like to speak up. I'll just give them a minute. There are a few members of the public, so.
That's fine. This is a first time Zoom for all of us. So.
Well, no one has raised their hand. No one has asked to chat.
Mhm.
So I think we're safe to proceed. Kind of last call. If anyone would like to comment from the public or ask a question, you may chat or speak up. Okay, I don't hear anything.
I hope no one's really literally raising their hand and not using the.
Yeah. If When I say raise your hand, please raise your hand on Zoom if you're looking at the screen.
So
Or there's a chat
raise your
feature at the
hand and
bottom.
swear, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so if there aren't any comments from the public or anyone attempting to reach us to make any comments, if there aren't any final comments, questions, or concerns from the commission, is there a motion to close the public hearing for application 2021?
Chairwoman Hodger, I'll make that motion to close the,
And is this Commissioner Kelly?
yes, it is.
Okay, there's motion to close from public hearing from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Parkins. I'll do a roll call vote on the motion to close the public hearing made by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Commissioner Parkins. Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to close public hearing for application 2021 has passed 6-0. So are there any commissioners that are ready to discuss and move on this particular application, or are we going to hold off for discussion on an upcoming meeting?
This is Commissioner Kelly. I don't think there's a problem on closing. I think we discussed it. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good looking project. It's going to enhance the area.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on how to proceed?
I'm supportive as well. I just want to go back to the sidewalks a little bit. I think we do usually put those kinds of things that we would like to see. Those would go in the resolution for the PZ zone change, I believe.
Yeah. As a condition.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so and your comment would be to make sure that there's a statement in the resolution that would cover the installation of sidewalks.
Right.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? This is the time to bring things up so we can decide if we have a consensus on how to move forward.
This is Commissioner
Chairman.
Tiki.
Go ahead, Commissioner Tiki.
I agree with the comments about the sidewalk and them being in the standards. I had asked the question, appreciate the applicant answering it about the drive-through, and I'm glad to hear that there's not a planned drive-through. We've seen just in reality when some of these sites do have a drive-through, and I am thinking of the Starbucks at the CX Plaza, that it borders unsafe with the amount of cars that come out in queue. So I'm just pleased to hear the applicant's response that there's no drive-through in this plaza, as I think that would create some concerns onto the nearby roads into Bridgeport Ave. So with that being said, I would, be in favor and move forward on this application.
Okay. Okay, any other commissioners?
Commissioner Parkins, I would agree with everything that's been said so far with Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Motto, and Commissioner Tiki. And I echo Commissioner Tiki's thoughts. And if he thinks Starbucks is bad, wait until Chick-fil-A comes in. You're going to see a big problem with that one.
Hopefully we'll get a lot of foot traffic coming down from the property.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah. So, okay.
This is Commissioner Usal. I also think this is a good project, and I want to echo the comments about the sidewalk on Platte Road. I do think there will be sidewalks needed, especially with the foot traffic that will probably be there once that development is put into place. So I am supportive.
Very good. Thank you. Well, I would concur personally with everything that everyone has said. I always like to see sidewalks myself. I think the sidewalk walkability score that we have in town could stand some improvement. So, but based on our comments, it seems that there's a consensus by the commission to have staff prepare a favorable resolution for this application. So is there anyone that would be in opposition to that action taking place?
Madam Chairman,
Go ahead, Mr. Panico.
Can I just get a little bit of clarification of the commission's position on the sidewalks with respect to both streets or just Platt Road and anticipate them in the future on Todd? Or do you want them installed both locations now?
Definitely Platt Road for that safety issue to go down to the traffic light. How does everyone else feel about the Todd Road portion?
I personally don't think Todd Road presents an issue. I don't think, people are going to take the shortest route to get into the shopping plaza. So since most of the traffic will be coming either straight up from Bridgeport Avenue or down from Platt Road, I'm not sure that.
Should we require the preparation for a future sidewalk?
Is it with the retaining walls, is it even possible to put a sidewalk? I mean,
Well,
I
it's going to
think
be
that's,
difficult. That's why I asked the question.
yeah,
Yeah, what's the chance of that
May-
road getting
It
wide?
might necessitate a second retaining wall.
Oh. Is that something that we can investigate and have
Yes, we
information?
will have a look at it and we'll have some alternatives for the commission to consider.
Okay, so that will be communicated between the applicant and staff only right now, since we closed the public hearing. Okay, all right, well, I think staff knows the direction that the commission wants to go on this particular application. Is there any reason why we shouldn't be able to move on to our next agenda item?
Ready?
Go ahead, Commissioner Amato.
Go ahead.
Okay, good. All right, where are we? Okay, it looks like we're down to section 5, other business. And there, just a notation that there's the minutes for February 17th, 2021 will be put on the city's website for review, and they'll be on an upcoming meeting agenda for approval. Next, other business, section B, minutes for approval. And this is for February 9th, 2021. I had communicated 3 edits to the commission earlier this week. I need to make an adjustment to one of them, but before I do so, does anyone have any comments or changes to the February 9th minutes?
no, Madam Chair.
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. I'm just looking around for my notes. Okay, the comments that I had on this that I communicated earlier this week was under section 7, subsection A, informal considerations. I asked that the following sentences be put in. Commissioner Harder noted for the record that Attorney Franti Doso Corporation Counsel issued a memo on February 5th to the commission to confirm that our zoning regulations validate informal considerations for PDD. It is important to note that a statement in the memo, any comments from the Planning and Zoning Commission are not binding or official, and no action will be taken on these items. Then I also, in that section, just wanted to clarify that Attorney Dominic Thomas from Cohen & Thomas addressed the commission for both of the above items. And then under other business, section C, staff comments, I would suggest that we add comments from Mr. O'Neill that there are not, which going back and listening to the tape, I transcribed as there are not a lot of enforcement updates as snow has made it hard to get out and look around, and it has been a little slower these last few weeks with complaints coming in. In the same section, I would suggest adding to Mr. Nappy's comments, revising that sentence a little bit. This is the one that needed to be adjusted after I listened to the tape again, that it starts off, Mr. Nappy mentioned that Mr. Nappy mentioned the developers are working on a private parking plan. Adding comments that they were also working on some pole lighting on Center Street, and they had several meetings with the Shelton Police Department about having a greater presence downtown. We should also add that in the same section, Mr. Panico had no comments. And that's about it. But I'd just like to preserve for the record certain things in here. So does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns about the changes to the minutes that I've suggested? Okay, is there a motion to approve the February 9th, 2021 minutes?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Parkins, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the minutes as amended from Commissioner Parkins. Is there a second?
Commissioner Kelly, there's a second.
Okay. So on the motion to approve the February 9th, 2021 minutes as amended from Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto.
I wasn't at that meeting, right?
I have my chart.
Is there a meeting on the 16th? You think that's on this? No.
Oh, I got it. That was we're talking about the 9th. No, you were in attendance on the 9th.
Okay, yes, aye. Okay.
Okay, and the chair votes aye, so the minutes as amended are approved for February 9th. Okay, final agenda item is just a notation that please send comments in via email to Mr. Rossetti regarding today's Zoom meeting, how you feel it went, anything for the future. I think it went relatively well for not really participating in a lot of Zoom meetings as others have. My only concern that I've expressed to staff and Vice Chair Kelly was I don't want to have the meetings to be very impersonal and not have that chance to have a face-to-face meeting with an applicant. So does anyone want to present any comments at this time?
I will, the Commissioner Parkins, I will say that the audio is much better on these Zoom meetings. You can actually hear the applicants speaking very clearly. And it's so nice to see everyone.
I know, I looked at a couple of people, I said, wow, I haven't seen like Jimmy Ticky in ages.
Yeah, it really has been nice to see everyone.
Don, yeah, so it's interesting to see everybody's background too. So, okay.
Yeah, I would just add, Chairwoman, I agreed. It's great to see everybody, and this is certainly better audio and visual. So we all see the same thing at the same time as if we were in person, rather than all of us pulling it up on our respective computers and screens. I have two pieces of construction feedback that hopefully we can continue to work on. One is just the continued involvement of the public, and if we can just do all that we can and the office to make sure that, you know, that link continues to be on the agendas. Maybe our friends at the Shelton Herald can get the word out that there is still very much a way for public to give comments, even if you can't come in person to the auditorium, that we welcome public comments. I think that's always really important when we hear about applicants. And I know that last year when some of us on the commission asked for the meeting times to be moved back to 10:30 a.m., one of the reasons why we were unable to do that was because of the restrictions within City Hall. But now that we are fully virtual, I'd like us to think about at the appropriate time going a little past 4:30. Some of us do still work and members of the public do still work too. So if we're going to take up an issue and close it out by 5 p.m., we really haven't given the public a chance to always comment if things fall in that first half an hour. So certainly would be earlier than our 7 p.m. in-person meeting times. This was very efficient today. It went really well. So tip my hat to Alex and the whole staff, but I'd like us to just think about public involvement, which I know Alex is thinking about. And if we can move that 4:30 time even to 5:30, I think is a reasonable request now that we don't have the in-person restrictions of being in City Hall.
Thank you.
I'd like to, yeah,
Go ahead, Commissioner Moto.
I agree with Jimmy as well. I say it is nice to see everyone actually maskless, which is quite unusual, just to see people, period. I was pleasantly surprised. I've attended a lot of other Zoom meetings where the audio and visuals were terrible, so this was much nicer. I'm curious to know why we're doing this now after doing the hybrid meetings and for a year. Is there something that triggered this?
No, I just think it's an evolution in getting us back to normal, in a way. It's just using available technology, maybe streamline the process. It just was, I think, we were taking baby steps since last March and April to continue our meetings. And it was just, okay, this is an option that we have. Let's try it out. So, yeah, as long as we can get the visuals, all those site plans and everything, we do have them available ahead of time. So hopefully all commissioners are taking the time to download them and look at them so that you're familiar with them, because it is, that was a concern of mine as to, are we all going to be looking at the, not so much looking at the same thing at the same time, which we are, but it's also, well, I want to look at this site page of the site plan, and somebody else wants to look at something else. So to be able to accommodate all that. So anybody else?
Chairwoman, are you planning on utilizing this moving forward, or that you had mentioned that this was just a test? Are you going back to?
Well, because of the notice requirements that we have, I think Mr. Rossetti could confirm that he had to issue the notice for the next meeting, and did so in a manner where it would be a hybrid, and that would give us a chance for people to submit their comments, and then we could discuss it at that meeting. And he could investigate in the meantime too, as to meeting times and dates. So our next meeting is supposed to be Tuesday, March 9th. Is that correct, Alex?
Yep. Yeah, so if the commissioners thought this was a higher quality meeting than the hybrid system, we're happy to continue in this fashion. If you guys want to go back to the other way, we can do that. I think there are definitely pros and cons to each. So I'll just kind of leave that up to you guys. And I'll definitely have a item on the agenda for March 9th for more discussion about how you want to proceed with remote meetings or not. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody that hasn't spoken up about how things are going? I didn't hear Mr. Nappy. Is he on the still in the Zoom meeting?
No, I think
He left. Okay. So,
yeah, I believe he left. Oh, no, he's still there.
Oh, all right. So is there anybody that wants to say anything before we sign off?
Well, this is Commissioner Kelly. Actually, I'm quite surprised the way it went so smoothly. I still feel that face-to-face is a more personal way of doing things. But again, I won't see anyone like everyone like I see now, maskless. So, I'm here or there with it. Like I said, I'm very pleased the way it went.
Yeah, Alex and I think we need to sit and chat a little bit.
I'll just add, for all the people that are not comfortable meeting in person, this is a far better way to do it.
Yeah.
And I respect everyone's concerns about meeting personally. So I wouldn't want to say we should go back to a hybrid meeting, because then the audio is terrible and it's just hard on the people that really would be more comfortable, especially who haven't been vaccinated yet. Meeting remotely is still advisable.
Exactly.
This is Commissioner Kelly again. I'm not quite sure if we had a meeting such as for what was it? Shelton, one up in the hill that where we had a lot of public input on it.
Shelter Ridge?
Yeah, I'm not quite, if we had something like that again, I'm not quite sure how it would go with the amount of public input into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good point.
Actually, this online really makes it easier for the public to participate, as long as they're familiar with the process and the fact that they can chat or sign up. You would have to figure out how to allow that to happen, to sign up. That would have to be something to work through. But, there's a lot of people that say, I've got kids, I've got to get home, I've got to make dinner, I've got to pick this one up, pick that one up. So to me, I think it's actually an easier way for people to participate if we can iron out, especially with the larger hearings. You do have some people tend to just go on and on and on, and you do have the ability to mute people. So there is some sort of control over that as well. So just my
Well,
thoughts.
that's true too, but you have to remember that they have to have the tools and the wherewithal in order to do that.
Exactly. But I mean, everybody has a cell phone these days, so you can participate right on your cell phone.
True.
Yeah.
Chairwoman,
Go ahead.
when notices are, if we continue in this fashion, when notices are sent out, and it's advised whether in the paper or through notices, we should find the verbiage that other towns have used that have moved to full virtual, so that people know to not show up at the date and time at City Hall, but that there is a virtual component. And, just efforts like that will inform the public about how they can get involved and how they can speak on an application that might be affecting them. So whether it's putting the Zoom link in there or providing some easy way that they can then go and get that information as to how they can log on.
Yeah. Alex, I think it's, you need to just check with Dan Bednarski as to how the City Hall website looks on the side where it gives all the calendar meeting lists, as to whether or not he needs to make a notation as to whether or not this is a Zoom meeting and no in-person kind of thing. One of my concerns is our demographics in town is that while we have a lot of people that are young to middle age that very comfortable with doing a meeting in this format, we do have an older generation that just may not have, as Charlie said, the wherewithal or the equipment to do this. And if you remember, there was a broad spectrum of ages that came out for some of our big public hearings. So we just have to be mindful of that.
But there is the opportunity to call in rather than using video. So you can just call in to a number. So even people with a landline can call in and participate.
But if they haven't participated in something like that before,
it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
It's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah. So you'd hate to have, we've had some other meetings where I've listened in, and it's tough at the beginning for sure. If you haven't done it before, and you don't know what to expect. So, okay, anything else? Okay, if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Kelly, it's a motion to adjourn.
Okay, the motion to adjourn from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Motto. Okay, I'll do a roll call vote on the motion to adjourn. Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed 6-0. The meeting is adjourned as of 5:20 p.m. Thanks, everybody.